So here it is, the brand new Bittboy. I've had it for a couple of weeks now. I've been reviewing it over Christmas, and if you can't remember, a few months ago I reviewed their original Bittboy and I wasn't too happy about it. It needed a lot of work. I don't know if you can remember when I lost my SD card into the abyss.
What the fuck?
But now they have a new edition, and this, I'll be honest, is very, very good. It's not perfect, don't get me wrong, but it's very, very good. So you kind of get an idea of the packaging here. That's what it looks like on the side. You get a bit of information on the back, supports SD card. Finally, that was my biggest flaw on the previous one. NES, Game Boy Color, Game Boy, headphone jack, 2.4-inch IPS screen, blah, blah, blah. But here it is. This is the brand new Bittboy, and I want to talk to you and tell you, like, is it worth picking up? Is it worth buying? And is there other emulation devices in the market around this price that's better than it? So that's the packaging, nothing really special. You get another box in here with your charging cable and your AV cable. So you can connect this, that does micro USB. You can connect this to your TV. I've done it a couple of times. I'm not a fan of playing on my TV, but it works. It works. It does the audio as well. So if you do want to plug it into a TV, it works quite well, I'm not going to lie. So there's your cables. We'll chuck that to the side. And here is the Bittboy itself. Now, if you're new to the Bittboy, this is what it looks like. Get this stuff out the way. Here it is. So this is the Bittboy handheld, and it looks so much better now. It's got a few upgrades. It's just got that really nostalgic look. Now, I've got the Game Boy here. Now, you can tell it's not the exact color. Now, some of you might be picky and that might wind you up a little bit, but they are, like, the Bittboy is slightly darker. It's a slightly darker gray than the original Game Boy here. So take that into consideration, but it's near enough, and it's kept the button colors pretty bang on as well. So it's nice that they're giving a little handshake to the original Game Boy here. So for any of you new to the Bittboy, it's basically an emulation retro handheld device. You plug in your SD card and you can play ROMs. Only ROMs of games you own, because Nintendo are getting they're cracking down on that now. So there's your SD card. I've got a 32 gigabyte in there. Overkill for sure. Now, it doesn't come with any built-in games, so when you get it, you're gonna have to go online and pick up some ROMs, or if it's on your SD card anyway, you can just plug it in. So quickly taking a look at the design, I love it. Now, this is like the perfect size for me. It resembles the old Game Boy slightly as well, and it's just a really nice design and size. It's very, very light. You can chuck this in your back pocket, you can chuck it in your bag, and it's just, I just really like the look of it. Just look at that. That is a freaking nice looking retro handheld device. And I've had my hands on a lot of retro handheld consoles, and most of them are ugly. But this one, I actually dig. It looks nice, it looks hip, it looks modern. I'm digging it. Good job, Bittboy. Now, on the front, you've obviously got your A, B, you've got your turbo buttons, your start select, you've got the little grill down here as well, and a nice little feature as well, they've got that curved angle on the bottom right corner, just like the original Game Boy as well. So again, another little handshake, which I dig. So the screen here is 2.4. Have I even taken off the screen protector? I haven't. That is like a classic me. There you go. So you might be able to get that's clean. That's clean now. So obviously on the top, you've got your SD card slot, you've got your on-off button, and on the original Bittboy, you had the volume rocker. Now, this is one of the features I would like returned, is the, I call it a rocker, but it's actually a volume wheel. But you can adjust the volume in the actual console itself, but I would have liked a volume wheel on here as well. Maybe even a brightness wheel on the other side. That would be really cool. And then on the bottom, you have a headphone jack. This is such an underrated feature, I think, for a lot of retro handheld devices, is a headphone jack. When you're on the train, you're on a bus, you don't want to be going on mute. You want to have your headphones in and listen to that nostalgic vibes that the Game Boy's giving you. So that's nice. And obviously your charging cable, charging port for your micro USB. And the boot up speed isn't quick, but it will do the job. A few seconds to get into the menu, and then another couple of seconds to get into the actual main menu here. So it looks like they're using like the Mayu software. So you've got your NES menu, you have your Game Boy menu, and you also have your Game Boy Color menu. So when you actually download your ROMs, it will just go straight into the designated menu as well. And I don't know if you can tell, this screen is incredibly nice. Like, it's a very saturated screen. The colors are great. It's just a very, very nice screen. Sometimes like the viewing angles is a little bit dodgy. That's another thing I have to point out. The viewing angles aren't the best, but you know, nobody plays like that. You're always playing straight on, so it's gonna be fine. So there's the menus. Let's take a look. So if we go into the NES menu here, you can see some of the ROMs I have. So I have Legend of Zelda and Super Mario Bros. And if I want to start that, I just go in, press start, and it will emulate that as well. And obviously I'm on mute, but what I do is press select, and then I can turn it up with the B and A buttons as well. So if we go into the menu, let's go. There we go. I don't know if you can look at that screen. I'll keep coming back to that screen because it's one of my favorite points. Just turn that down a bit. There we go. And this gets really, really loud. So this is just playing normally. And if I go up, it's loud. This little thing packs a punch. Straight off the bat, it's fine. Like, it emulates this stuff on the NES almost perfectly. The colors are bright, frame rate's good, and it's just a joy to play on. But we'll get into the other emulations in a minute because they're not exactly perfect. But these NES ones, and this can be like a quick game, and it all seems to be working absolutely fine. Like, I've had no problems with the NES emulation on here. It's just a lot of fun. Like this, and the screen as well, the brightness. Oh god, I just got like double killed there. It's just a very nice way to play your games. And the buttons as well are really nice. They're very quick. The feedback on them is perfect. There's no latency lag or anything. And you kind of get a click from them. Not like an actual click, but the plastic behind it lets you know that you've actually pressed it. Just looking then while I was switching through menus. This thing is thin. Like, it's slightly thicker than your average iPhone, especially at the bottom here with the battery case. But at the top there, it is thin. Like, you can chuck this in your bag, or if you're a girl, your purse, your handbag, whatever. But I keep underestimating how thin and compact this little thing is. And to have such a nice display on it, damn, they're going in the right direction. So now we're on our Game Boy emulation here. So if we go into the menu, you can see my actual Game Boy games as well. So if you go into Pokemon Red. Okay, now if we go into the Game Boy emulation here, I've actually had no problems with this one. This one is absolutely fine. So if we go and press A, we can see what ROMs we have. I have Pokemon Red and Super Mario Land. We just click start, jumps in, and has a 1 second load up, which is quite nice. And as you can see here, it's stuck to the Game Boy's aspect ratio, the square ratio, which is quite nice. But if you wanted to change it, you simply click the reset button once here and go into mode, and you can click full, hold B, and it will put it into full screen mode, which is really cool. I personally like playing in full screen mode. I know it's a bit weird, but I just like filling up the screen because just look at that. That's nice. And obviously I don't have a save in this. You can save, but this is just Pokemon Red, which I haven't been playing. I've actually been playing on Pokemon Yellow on Game Boy Color. But you can see there, it's nice. On Game Boy Color, there's no like warping, there's no frame rate drop. It emulates it perfectly. It's only when you go into Game Boy Color, which it gets a little bit weird. I'll show you now. So if you look at the screen here, I don't know if you can see this, but it has like screen tearing quite bad on Game Boy Color games, which for me I can live with, but I know a lot of you out there, this will be actually somewhat annoying. And this happens even on the TV as well. So if you're using the AV cable, I've experienced it doing exactly the same thing. It's not like screen tearing. It's almost like a drop of frames. Like it's a frame rate drop issue where it looks very, very jerky, and I know some of you enthusiasts might even say it's like unplayable. So that's a little bit disappointing there, especially with the Game Boy Color games. So you just have to take that into consideration. This is where I'm like saying it's near perfect, but it's not quite there yet. So overall, what are my opinions on the new Bittboy Gameboy here? This is a near perfect retro emulation handheld device. Like, I am very impressed on how far Bittboy has came from the previous version, which was not that great, to this, which is near perfect. Now, the only flaw, obviously, which I've mentioned, is the Game Boy Color emulation loses a few frames and has a slight screen warping going on when you move. But I think only enthusiasts will be bothered by that, casual gamers not so much. And also, I'd like a physical wheel on here. I think a physical wheel would do a few of their customers justice, but as mentioned, it's not hard to just press select and A and B to get to the audio as well. And it gets loud, like the speaker is really, really good. Fair play to Bittboy for putting quite a loud speaker in here. And just looking at the design, like the design is absolutely adorable. I love it. It resembles the old Game Boy quite well with the color scheme going on. The screen size is perfect. You've got a headphone jack and you can get to like 3 hours gameplay out of this on one charge. And one charge only takes like 30 to 45 minutes to fully charge it as well. And because it's micro USB, you can attach it to a battery pack as well. So I am very, very impressed, and should you buy it, absolutely, you won't be disappointed. And they've done a cracking job on here. And what would I like? What would I want next from Bittboy? You know, like, I think they should compete with the retro Digiboy handheld that I reviewed not long ago. That's basically a Game Boy Advance version of this that can play Game Boy Advance cartridges. So that's a next step up. Admittedly, that handheld was like $100, but I think Bittboy could tackle or like compete with them by doing the exact same, making it look a lot more like the Game Boy Advance and then making it a metal shell. Like, I would happily pay $100 for that without a doubt, especially if it can play Game Boy Advance cartridges. So that's what I want to see from Bittboy in 2019, is a Game Boy Advance version of this, and then them to just look at the Game Boy Color emulation within. It might even be their screen, I'm not 100% sure, but there you have it. A great handheld device that I'll be using for the next several months, and I advise picking one up if you're looking for one as well, because you can just chuck your ROMs in here and play all day. So yeah, there you have it, a quick review unboxing of the brand new Bittboy. Should you buy it? Hell yeah.